That's it. Tommy Slater from Rapala come in here, and this is our last guest for today. Tommy, you're another person who used to work for Fishing Monthly magazines. You're down the marketing manager at Rapala now. How are you loving it down in Sydney?
Yeah, mate, it's a bit more busy, a bit fast-paced, but loving the harbour and getting out in there and smashing the fish, so it's been good.
And you're working with Rapala and Storm, which are two of the biggest brands of lures in the world, basically. A lot of them made in Southeast Asia at your own factories. You're so big, you've got your own factories to make the baits, and you've got some pretty exciting baits here today. Can you take us through a couple of them?
Yeah, so we'll start with Storm, which, as you said, is we've made all in our factory in Batam in Indonesia. So the first one is probably to cater for the big bait trend for the Murray cod guys. We've had a really good response from this at the show, and it's called the Rip Seeker Jerk. So guys will be familiar with like the Storm suspending shad that all the barra guys used to love smashing the tour. So it's the same body as the suspending shad, same design principle. So it's actually a suspending bait, hard body but with a soft skin, and the articulating tail joined with a big single hook and the curl tail, and you actually fish it exactly like you would an X-Rap 10. So just jerk bait it, twitch paws, and the big cod and the big barra absolutely love it. So
you've had that field testing, the guys are catching on it?
Yeah, we've had it out in the field for a couple of months, and yeah, cod at Copeton, cod at Eildon, barra at Faust. Yeah, it's been going really well.
Awesome, and that profile, that big bait fish profile, is becoming more and more popular with the barra guys. They all used to throw little baits around, but they're getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, well, look, the fish are 130 centimetres and they eat big bonies, so why not throw a big bait?
Now, let's have a look at this. This looks like one of the Magnum stable. Tell us about this fella.
Yeah, so one of my first jobs at Rapala was actually to design some new X-Rap Magnum colours. So I designed 5 of them, all revolved around Australian bait fish, and that's one of them. So we've got 5 new colours. That's Hussa, all UV features, and in all the great sizes. So 20-foot diver, your 30-foot diver, and your 40-foot diver. So 5 new X-Rap Magnum colours, and they'll be ready to start selling to stores in about October.
Okay, so still a couple of months until these guys are ready, but Australian baitfish colours must mean that Rapala sells enough of these baits in Australia to make it worthwhile.
It's actually it's probably the most popular Rapala for us in the country. So the X-Rap Magnums, it's a staple for us. So
awesome. Now, this is another Storm bait, I assume. This is a spinnerbait. We love our spinnerbaits in Australia because Australian bass love a reaction bait. What's so good about this guy? Yeah,
so we're actually debuting 3 Storm spinnerbaits at the show. This is one of them. It's the titanium model. So I'm a massive fan of spinnerbaits. I know you are. I know Simon is. And we go up to Yungala and places like that, and you take 50 spinnerbaits because you always break them. You won't break the titanium spinnerbait. Titanium wire, and you can do anything with this thing, and it'll always spring back to normal. So big sooties, big bass, whatever you want to catch on them, you're going to land them, you're going to put them in the boat. No more snap spinnerbaits.
So even if I throw it 30 foot up a tree, I'm not going to snap that spinnerbait to get it out. It's going to pull the tree down.
It'll pull the tree down.
Now, what about price point for that? Anything with titanium in it normally means double the price. What's the deal with that?
It is on the premium side of a spinnerbait. You're looking at about $18.95 retail in the shops, and they'll be available in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Now, stick baits. Massive growth in stick baits in Australia in the last 5 years. I assume this is out of the same stable. Tell us about this guy.
Yeah, this is one of the new Rapala live colours for the saltwater series. So we're debuting this in long cast shallow, and saltwater X-Wraps, as well as the Twitch and Minnow and Twitch and Mullet that we released last year. So all digital printing technology, so it's something unique to Rapala and that we've developed for a long time. And there's 6 new colours debuting in about 10 new models, so it's going to be really good.
Now, what happened in the old days when I used to buy a $2 slug from Jones's Tackle and throw that in at a long-tail tuna in Moreton Bay? Their tastes have got refined, haven't they?
Yeah, that's like a fine wine. I guess they get better with age.
And what in the shop, how much is one of those guys going to cost me?
Mid $20 for that guy, and there's sizes from 10 to 14 centimetres, so something to cater for every style.
Now, I always save the best to last, and I'm a real big fan of the shadow wraps that came out a couple of years ago. The real theory behind these guys was the fact that they suspended really well and they nearly sort of turned around in their own body length. So you could throw this lure into the strike zone and you get maximum value for the time that it spends in there. What's this new guy? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is the Shadow Wrap 3X. So I travelled to Helsinki to the Finland Rapala factory last year, and while I was there, I worked on tuning the Shadow Wraps to handle Australian fish. Now, they were designed for America. They had light wire hooks, and obviously we have much bigger fish and much stronger fish, and we needed something with bigger hooks. So we put the 3 extra strong VMC 7556 trebles on there, tuned the internal weighting so they still have that awesome shadow wrap 180 action, but they suspend in the fresh water and they're tuned for barramundi. So
that's awesome, because when they first came out, the shadow wraps, the first publicity I saw was some barra guides going, that's great, I took all the hooks off and I put just one big hook in the middle so they could keep that action. So the factories listened, they've listened to the fact that our barra tear hooks to pieces, and they've done something about it. So I love that, and I love the fact, this one is because thumbs up to Rapala for listening to Australians. I reckon we're on the other side of the world, but we need to be listened to. So thanks for that, Tommy, for doing that.
No worries, mate. We're glad to do it. And yeah, so there's new colours in them as well, and in the shallow and deep, and the 11 centimetre shadow wrap as well, and they'll be available again in a couple of weeks' time. So.
And you just lost your spinnerbait to Simon there as well.
Yeah, I figured he'd take that to Youngler with him.
Look, guys, that's all we have for the live show today. We have another show this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Again, we've had a bit of issues with connectivity in the building here. We got through most of it. Any segments where we've lost the audio, we will upload those on the channel because we have a backup camera right here. To all the guys from the distributors that came and joined us for the live show, thank you very much. We found a few new products again that give us, what do the kids say today? Dem feels in the heart. And we love it. We're going to be back to you this afternoon at around 4 o'clock, and then again tomorrow morning with all the Best of Show awards. So until then, this is Steve Morgan checking out from AFTA with Tommy Sleepy Slater.